Good morning, boat lovers. Weather report, magnificent this morning. It's been a hideous week of blowing a gale, rain, all that sort of stuff. Not been conducive to working in the boat shed at all. I've still been in there, but it hasn't been very pleasant. And as such, I didn't do much filming, but I did get heaps done. And so I'm starting early again this morning, and I'll catch you up, unlock the old shed door, and give you a little bit of a tour of what I've been up to this week.
Hello boat lovers, welcome aboard. I'm Steve and I'm single-handedly building Dragonfly. She's a 53 foot or 16.2 metre flat bottom wooden riverboat. She includes twin outboards, aft cabin, galley, a saloon, wheelhouse, separate head and shower, and a centerline queen double up front. She's specifically designed for the sheltered and inland waters of the River Murray here in South Australia. Join us each week to watch the mayhem and madness of one man and his rescue dog building a massive 53 foot flat bottom wooden riverboat.
Alright boat lovers, so continuing on from the last video, still working on this back area. You can see I've got all the plywood and soundproofing put into place, and I've just also put a couple of reinforcing pieces along the top of that centre there where the clamps are. That's so as when I put my decking on, I've got something to screw down to. And after that, I'm wetting everything out. Just mixing up some epoxy, wetting out all the ply area to seal it properly. That'll get painted later with a nice gloss white paint, which is really good for light when it's inside a locker. You might notice there that I've also got my squeegee lying on the bottom of that locker. I'll probably do a close-up on that in a minute so you can see it, but when I'm wetting things out, I really like to use a squeegee as well as a brush, because the squeegee is great for spreading the epoxy around, getting a really even coating. There it is, got a little close-up of it. So just a little rubber squeegee, and it's great. You can just pour a bit of epoxy down and spread it around much more easily with that than you can with a brush. I do use a brush to get into all the corners and of course the end grain of the plywood, but I get a much more even coating by spreading it around with that squeegee, and it's a really handy little thing to have.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. 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 And I feel
Alrighty, so once I got that all wetted out, left that to dry, and then got on to making up some petitions and cabinets to go in the bathroom, like in the toilet and in the shower. So obviously there I'm just putting some plastic down, so when I wet out these panels that I've made up, I don't get epoxy dripping all over the paving. The partitions that you'll see in a little while in the bathrooms or in the toilet and the shower serve two purposes. One, the partition in the shower actually goes under the side deck, and so it really supports that catwalk where you walk around the side of the boat, and that if some big heavy person goes stomping along there, it's going to have a full support between the edge of the catwalk and the bottom of the boat, or at least the floor of the boat. And in the toilet, you'll see I've put in a vanity bench, and below that bench I'm also making a cabinet so as we've got some storage in there. As I say, we'll get to that down the track a little bit, and you'll see what I mean by storage cabinets. The one in the shower, I'll have to fiberglass everything in there. Of course, all the walls and the floor will be completely glassed and then finished with a 2-pack epoxy white paint with a light non-skid on the floor. And that way the shower will be completely waterproof, easy to clean, and that's probably the simplest way to go about it. So you can see where those stringers are. That's where the partition is going to go, or the cabinet face, and kind of level with my head there you'll see the edge of the catwalk. So the partitions that I've just wetted out are going to run from the bottom of that catwalk edge below the window down to the floor, so they're going to be really strong. And right now, of course, I'm just wetting out all the bare plywood that's going to be behind that cabinet, and once the cabinet face is in place, then I have to make up some internal shelving, which is going to be a little bit tricky to fit inside the cabinet. So, and that will have a plastic molded hatch door on it as a cupboard door, because being a shower area, we need to keep that cabinet dry. So there'll be a cabinet door on there, as there will be in the side where the toilet is as well. So yeah, just wetting all that plywood out, give it a good soaking, all the end grain and the face work there underneath the stringers. And as I say, then the partition I've made up that you saw on those trestles with the big hole in the middle. Hole in the middle is where the cabinet goes, and the boards themselves, the board itself is the face that goes on that surface to make a dead straight wall from the window right down to the floor. So that's going to be really easy to clean and should be quite functional. Alright, boat lovers, oops. I am working on the Vanity in the bathroom at the moment. I put a hardwood top in there. Not sure what you've seen so far, I can't remember what I filmed, but anyway, I I need to put an edge around the bench top of the Vanity. Well, here we go. Back my way down the companionway, here we go. I've made these slats up so I can put them around this edge of the Vanity. So they're going to run around this edge, but even though I've cut them really thinly, being a hardwood, they're likely to crack or split if I try and bend those around. So I'm just going to steam them up. I'll clamp them to a template that I've made up. In fact, it's the template that I use to make the bench top. And I'll just let them, once I've steamed them and I get them on the template, I'll just let them dry there, and they should hold their shape enough for me then to be able to glue them into place on that bench top. I probably won't glue them in today because I want them to dry out completely. But as I say, we've got these 3 laminations which I just cut in the bench saw this morning. So here you can see I've just made up this template, and once these are steamed, I'll clamp these into place so they hold that shape, and then tomorrow, once they've dried out enough, I can laminate them into place on the bench top. That's the plan. So we're back to good old steaming again. Not full on traditional steam bending, but steaming these thin pieces enough to be able to bend them around. They're about, I guess, a 1/16 of an inch, or just over a 1/16 of an inch, or a millimetre, 1.5 millimetres thick. I'm running out of this hardwood of this size, so I was lucky to find these pieces. I think they'll soften up enough for me to be able to do what I need to do. I did make up a steam bending tube, but it's not long enough to take these pieces of wood, so I really need to make a longer one. I was making it out of this piece of combustion heater flue, but I really need another length, so I've got a good 2 meters in length, and then I can lock one end up with a piece of wood, put a drain hole in the other end, put it on a little slope, put the steamer in, and then I'll be able to bend, or I'll be able to steam longer lengths. But since this one's not long enough for these, I'll just do them standing up. Unfortunately, you can see a little bit too long. But one of these days I will make up a longer steaming tube. I can hear the steamer, we're nearly at boiling there, so not long to go. Pick which side's the nicest for the outside piece, probably that side there. But I also want a thicker piece for the outside, or maybe that one. Got a couple of burn marks from the saw, but they'll sand out. Yep, might put that one on the outside. These end up at about 8 to 10 mil thick, which will just make a nice edge running around the top of that Vanity. Because when you're cruising along, there's not a lot of vibration, but just a little bit of movement. You don't want things sitting on the Vanity that will vibrate across to the edge and might fall off. So, as with most surfaces in a boat, you have a little lip or a rail running around the edge, especially in places that you're not watching all the time. A bit like watching a kettle boil. While you're watching the pot, it never boils, so they say, but I think we're nearly there. I can just hear it changing. Plenty of steam coming out there. All right. going to give that a try, see how we go. Well, sometimes a plan works, and I have to say that was a lot easier than I expected. Only took a couple of minutes on the steamer, because I did try to bend these around before I steamed them, and there was no way. So that's definitely a success. So once they've dried out, they should hold their position enough that I can then clamp them onto the vanity and glue them into place. It's been a couple of hours and this is dry enough to glue now. That's the thing with steaming, it doesn't really wet the timber that much if it's not on for a long time. Not over tightening these yet because I want to go along and put some other clamps in between here, and everything will move a little bit as I do that, and then I'll tighten everything up. Right, and that's all down flush, as flush as it can go. Definitely have to clean these clamps up. I've got so much glue on them from the last couple of jobs, and I just keep putting it off, but it's starting to slow me down a bit now, so that's probably my next job. That's coming up all right. In fact, that's coming along quite well. I just keep all these blocks that I have taped up with the parcel tape because they're really handy for things like this, and can kind of reuse them a few times. And lucky last one. Now this should be the right size just up to this end, because this is the template I used to cut the Vanity bench top, but I'll clamp this last bit just in case it goes over a little bit. Right, so all being well, there it is. Just try not to get glue on the GoPro, and I'll bring the camera down and give you a closer look. So there we go, we've got the 3 laminations there, and that ends up at about 8 to 10 mil thick. So that's going to make a nice edge around the vanity. You see on the end there those laminations, and I just put those blocks on there so I could clamp that profile back to the bench top. So all in all, really happy with that. I didn't think I'd get that glued today, and I was quite surprised that those 3 thin strips of hardwood dried out as quickly as they did. I think it's been about 2 hours since I steamed them, and they were definitely really dry and holding their shape enough to be able to pull back into place like that and laminate that. So there'll still be a tiny bit of flex in that if I need to pull it in anywhere when I put it to the vanity, but I'm pretty sure I've got the right profile. All right, well that is another job off the list. Time for the red rag to turn off the GoPro. All right, folks. Nice and early in the boat shed this morning. It's about 7 o'clock. Much earlier than I usually get in here. I usually don't get in here till about 8:30, but my wife had to be out on a job early this morning. So I'm in here bright and early, and we'll get this boat built. As you know, yesterday I laminated this vanity edge, so we'll see how that's come out. Set it in place and see if we can fit it and glue it into place this morning. It's a bit freezing outside, but it's not as bad in the shed as I thought it would be. Or maybe I just haven't woken up properly yet. And there we have it. I'll get that cleaned up and see if it fits into place. All right, let's have a bit of a peek. Just go and get some lights on in here. All right, folks, well, the first thing that you can probably see, if I turn around, is up behind me is the roof, or the peak cap, if you like, of the wheelhouse. I've got the front edge all put on there, which I did yesterday afternoon, and I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm not going to take the clamps off just yet. I think I'll leave it till lunchtime because I only did it in the evening last night. Not that anything's under any pressure, it's all just held into place. But I'm pretty pleased with that. We'll whiz up the ladder and have a closer look. It's a bit icy in here this morning, beautiful outside, but we don't really get any sun on this shed till about 11 a.m, maybe 11:30, and then it starts to warm up. So it's beautiful outside, absolutely stunning, but darn freezing in here. Alrighty, I'll turn this around. If I walk up to the front of the boat, should be able to turn this camera around and give you a better look. Here we go. There we are. So got that front fascia board around the peak cap of the wheelhouse. That's a very technical boating term that I just made up. The peaked cap, there we go. So yeah, that's great. I finally got that board all the way around, so it makes me feel like that section's done. Okay, apart from that, I've got the steps done either side of the wheelhouse doors where we step from the side decks up to the front. That was quite a bit of mucking about, but I'll show you those. Right, here we go, walking along the starboard side. Get in here, so from the wheelhouse, here we go. So there's my step. You've got the catwalk coming around the side, and a nice step down, and then of course there'll be, where this big hole is, there'll be decking there. And then the same on this side. Coming out of the wheelhouse door, I'll step back a bit. Just got a temporary piece of board there at the bottom. There's my temporary bit of side deck, but as you can see I've got the step in there. Try and give you a bit of a close-up. So that came up really well. And whiz back down the ladder because I forgot to turn the lights on inside the cabin. Bear with me, I just get that plugged in into my dusty power board. Right. As I say, I've made a lot of progress. I think I showed you I've been working on the bathroom cabinets. So I've managed to get some shelves in there. Now the lighting's very tricky in here. There's shadows everywhere, but I'll turn this around, you should be able to get a bit of an idea. Here we go. So we've got the vanity bench in place with the edging around it, which has come up quite well. I've got my supports under the side decks, some gussets or knees, or what do you want to call those little supports under there. And then we've got a shelf, if we can see it. That's some shelving that's inside the cabinet, and of course some lockers running up the side of where the toilet is, so just some little compartments there to keep odds and sods in. And then around on this side, again we've got the side wall in where the shower's going, and this cavity ready for some shelving, which I'll be putting in today. That is today's job, to try and get the shelving put in there into the shower section. Oh, and I'm not sure whether I showed you, but we're down in the dark. I've got these hatch covers, which are going to work really well as locker doors for these spaces. So this one, oh, sorry about the lighting, but this one sits in there like so. Come back a little bit. So hopefully you can see the vanity above. It's going to be a nice opening door there with the white shelves in behind it. Not cheap buying those hatch covers, but I thought it would look nice in the bathroom. Instead of just making the wooden cabinet doors, etc., I thought just a little bit of manufactured access hatch would look nice and professional. So I bit the bullet and got a couple of those. Alrighty, what else can I show you that I've been up to? I whizzed down the back, been getting ready to get these gas lines in place. Still got lots of options with those and trying to make sure we get everything as safe as possible. So I think we've finally, I've got a boat specialist gas guy coming out within the next week, and we're going to see if what I'm doing here is okay. So, little change of plan where I'll turn this around and give you a look. So this is where we'll put the 2 bottles. So that will be a completely airtight, self-contained compartment, or airtight at the top anyway. Of course, it'll have a vent at the bottom. The vent will be going through here, out through the side of the boat. So well away from any ignition points. And there at the back, if I can climb over into the outboard well, I can show you where I've made a little locker space where I want to have a plug-in bayonet fitting for the gas barbecue. So when I'm using the gas barbecue on the aft deck of the boat, I'm not having to have a bottle there. We want just a bayonet fitting that plugs in. So I've made a special chamber for that. Here we go. So there's the locker that I've made for that. So the gas pipe should come along here, into here with an emergency shut-off valve and a bayonet fitting and a little lift-up flap to plug the barbecue in. And of course it'll be vented again out through that side. So that is what I've been up to without filming. It mightn't seem like a lot, but doing those cabinets in the bathroom, I think I filmed some of that, so I know you've seen some of it, but getting those shelves into place, man, that was really quite tricky because I'm working in behind the face of the cupboard, and you've got the tapered side of the hull and of course the stringers that run along. So I've been making up cardboard templates to try and get the exact sizes and things, and then when it comes to gluing, got to glue all the wood, paint all surfaces so it's all sealed, and then get it into place before the glue sets. So I managed to do that side, and as I say, today I'm working on the other side. So that's what I'm going to be up to today. I better get on with it. We will see you at the other end of some shelves.
Alright boat lovers, the end of another week, or actually 3 weeks should I say, of boat building. Sorry it's taken so long to get this video out, but I have been flat out building more than I've been filming. But I'll do my best to get the next video out within a week or 10 days or so, and Maple and I look forward to seeing you guys then. Please hit the like button, subscribe, because it really helps the channel, and I'm sure as you can see the channel's growing really fast. So many people from all around the world taking an interest, which I really love. It keeps me motivated. I love all the comments. Please don't hesitate to drop me a line, make a comment. I respond to everybody, and above all, boat safely, stay well, and we look forward to seeing you guys in a week or so's time. Bye.